up, party people? Welcome back to Squeeze the Juice Week 7. We had a bit of a rowdy weekend last weekend. A lot going on in college football. A lot of great games, especially the Red River rivalry. That was honestly a great game. A great game, I know. Horns down.
Yeah, it was
Horns
a fantastic game.
That game was... It's great that it was better than last year, because last year, 49-0, joke.
Right,
But
yeah.
big respect and shout out to Brent Venables, because he finally has given Oklahoma something they've needed for years, and that's a defense.
Yeah, that game was awesome. And shout out to Dylan Gabriel, too.
He did
making plays left and right. What more can you say about Oklahoma that it hasn't already been said, right? They played a fantastic game. A little sloppy at times on both ends. You had the careless mistakes that Quinn Ewers made, and then you had the special teams punt block for Texas. So it went both ways, kind of how the Red River rivalry goes down. But at the end of the day, it was horns down. And Boomer Sooner, baby. That was an awesome game. And I was very comfortable during the entire game. I knew throughout that one that I had it in the bag, because Oklahoma just had the lead, You had the field goal at the end by Bert Auburn. Big Bert. And I was like, you know what, if they lose, so be it. It's, within that 5.5 number. So shout out to Dylan Gabriel, though, for securing the win for the Sooners. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. I agree. I don't know if I sent you this, but I don't know if I said this to you, but I believed after watching that game, it was either great job and good win by Oklahoma, or it was an unfortunate Oklahoma loss. To me, it wasn't going to be a great win for Texas, and it was just not so great. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't a great loss either.
I could have seen, if Texas won that game, I think that's a gutty win. When you don't have your A-plus game, you don't have your A-minus, you're bringing your B-minus, maybe C-plus game at best, and you still find a way to win. That would have been impressive for Texas. That would have instilled more confidence in Texas and me. However, that defense just completely crumbled. You had a minute 15-ish, maybe a minute to stop Oklahoma from scoring a touchdown, and
all you had to do was stop a touchdown too. Yeah, at least.
At the least, right? If they score 3, you go to overtime. You play it out from there. But that's just how that game goes, right? That's just how it goes. But elsewhere in college football, we had some very interesting games, and I want to start with LSU, Missouri. We should not have covered this game.
It's true.
The pick 6 at the end of the game, when the game was already over, gives us the cover. LSU won by 10, I think.
Choke job.
And, hey, we appreciate that. Thank you, Brady Cook.
Vegas flipped on that one.
Yeah. Texas A&M, Alabama. You know what?
Alabama probably should have lost that game.
Texas A&M's offense could not get anything going, and they just blew every chance they had. And, that's just typical Jimbo Fisher A&M teams. It wasn't anything I didn't expect. Just, I trusted the number that Vegas gave us at 1.5, and I said, that number is so weird, so suspicious, that I'm just going to roll with it. And it bit me in the butt, but hey, you live and you learn. Let's talk Georgia and Kentucky very briefly here. Georgia they're Georgia. They're back, and we knew they would be back. I felt like this was we are still the top dog game, and it was. They destroyed Kentucky. Kentucky never had a chance. It was over before it started.
It was an onslaught. I was like, you'd think, after the way Kentucky's been playing, maybe not that they'd play well enough, but when you were looking at like the spread of it, right, you were like, well, maybe the way they've been playing, maybe they don't get beat down that bad, but it was
ugly.
It was ugly. It was
ugly.
Sad, but that was a game Georgia needed badly, because for week after week, people are calling for them, or only because they're national champions, 2-time defending, that they can maintain that one, and they prove that they still are that number 1 spot. Especially against an SEC opponent who has been looking better. It is on the road for Kentucky, but Georgia's playing like they should be right now.
Absolutely, I agree. That was impressive. I felt pretty good about that one, but I didn't think it was going to be to the extent that Georgia. It was like the TCU championship game from last year. That's what I got.
Mm-hmm.
And Carson Beck too. He might be legit. we got to talk about your Irish. That was the last game that we both covered. What an embarrassing performance from Notre Dame. They did not show up to Louisville at all, and the Cardinals got them. They got them big time. I mean, that was embarrassing for Marcus Freeman and Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
That was just awful.
I mean, we didn't know how to feel about that game. We were both kind of should we take the Birds? But we're like,
I wanted to, I just couldn't. I couldn't get myself to do it because every time I feel like I go against Notre Dame wins.
And except for Ohio State.
Well, I knew the Bucks were going to win that.
Yeah,
that doesn't.
But it's
that logic is so flawed.
I know. I was like, you knew, even though they choked in the game. In the
no,
end.
It's just like this inner gut feeling. I'm like, if I pick against Notre Dame, they're going to win, and I'm just going to be mad. But
no, we felt like it was kind of like, all right, it was time for them to reboot. They lost a tough one against at Notre Dame against Ohio State. They didn't look good the week after, another game day on the road at Duke, and they escaped that one.
Yeah, they
with
did.
That late touchdown and with Duke's quarterback being injured, I believe most of the second half of the game. And then we thought they'd really kind of step it up against Louisville on the road, but Louisville came in hot. We don't know what to expect out of them. They're undefeated. So is North Carolina. I mean, it's good because a lot of people are like, hopefully the ACC can be better this year. Miami going down hurt, this week's game for them. I mean, it's still big in the ACC, but that hurt. As you want to have it's better for the ACC when there's more teams, the Pac-12, like we discussed earlier beforehand. But I don't know. It was tough, because that's obviously there's always that 1% chance, but that's about a 99% chance guaranteed now that Notre Dame is out of the playoff.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no bounce
they
back
looked
anymore.
Pathetic. That's just the bottom line. They looked pathetic, and it was unfortunate because there was a bit of juice, there was a bit of momentum, there was a bit of belief that Notre Dame could be better than last year. They had the top transfer quarterback. What would they be? They played that tough game against Ohio State and 2 back-to-back road games at night. It's maybe chalk it up to just an unfortunate game, everything kind of accumulating at once. But to me, that signals a little bit more than just an unfortunate loss. But those were the games that we covered. Justin was 3-2 on the week, 15-12-1 overall in college football. I gave you the STJ Sports Pod at Twitter. I gave you that bet. I'm doing a pick every week. It might be college, it might be NFL, but
a little something special for
the folks. Something special for the folks on Twitter. I picked Ohio State minus 19.5, and it hit. Go Bucks!
I knew that was coming.
So I was 4-2 on the week.
What a shocking pick!
Well, it hit, and I don't care if you were watching that game. You knew Ohio State, there was a chance they could have lost that game. For them to cover was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. That game, I was like, oh, Maryland has a shot, but I'm like, I'm gonna wait until the end of the third quarter to see what happens because teams are second half teams. Michigan is 100% a second half team. So I'm like, I know I can't, especially in the Big Ten, I can't trust anything until I see this fourth quarter starting.
Right, and it hit. So I don't care. 4-2 in the week. I'm now 13-15-1 overall. I started 1-9.
That's a tough one.
I started 1-9.
Bounce back.
Since then, I'm 12-6-1. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Come on.
Positive vibes this week. I know you're a little stressed, but hopefully you can hit this week.
We have an interesting slate of games and very difficult to decipher. Honestly, it's one of those weeks where you're kind of going in blind a little bit. You're going in with one hand tied behind your back. You don't exactly know where to go. You're a little scared. You're a little scared. Honestly, I'm a little scared for this week. But let's kick it off. Maybe you can ease my fears.
We'll see. Another week of college football. Kick it off with a blackout game right here because those are the backgrounds I had, so just all meshed. But we got Missouri heading to Kentucky.
Fitting because it is a night game.
It is. Kentucky favored 2.5. Both of these boys coming off losses. Unfortunate for Missouri and a beatdown for Kentucky. Who is going to play well this week?
That's such a tough question to answer. I don't know. I mean, these are two teams that both
very similar.
Coming off losses. I do think they're similar in talent. I'm not sure if they're similar in terms of play style. Kentucky wants to run the football. We talked about Ray Davis last week. Missouri wants to throw the football with Brady Cook. So two different offensive philosophies here. But what I like about Kentucky is that while they did get destroyed against Georgia, it's one game, and it's a game where you went on the road to Athens, and you just weren't ready for it, right? You weren't prepared. You weren't expecting what Georgia was going to bring to you. Now, you kind of get to reassess. You get to bounce back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Missouri, on the other hand, I feel like they, at least in their locker room, probably feel like they should have won that game against LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Like a part of their locker room is saying, we had that game. We had LSU, and we didn't close it. And so I feel like that kind of a loss might linger on you a little bit more. When you feel like you should have won, that typically sticks in the back of my mind a little bit more when I know I lost. Now, how can I bounce back? How can I rebound? How can I make up for that loss? And that's where I think Kentucky's at now. The public is backing Kentucky heavily. 82% of the bets on the spread are on Kentucky per the Action Network, and this number hasn't really moved. But I'm just going to put my faith in the team that I think is a little bit better and a team that I just trust to bounce back in this one. I'm going to go with Kentucky. It's a tough pick for me, but that's where my heart's at, so I'm going to go with it.
Well, Kentucky's won 7 of the past 8 meetings with Missouri, including 2 in a row, and Kentucky hasn't lost at home to Missouri since Stoops' first season in 2013.
That's good to hear.
And
we like that.
They've won the past 4 matchups at Kroger Field. Big vibes, big blue. I'm on the Wildcats, too.
Okay. Good.
Ease your mind on that. I mean, I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Kentucky's just going to have the edge.
There is that psychological factor to me where, like, if I am so close to winning, that hits me harder than knowing I just got I just got to reassess everything.
I agree.
Right?
I mean, for this game, I just kind of was like, I agree. Who do I trust more? I think I trust Kentucky at home more than in this game.
Because I was watching that LSU game. Missouri looked like the better team. Like, outside of a couple of, like, blown plays, I mean, Missouri looked like the better football team for a good chunk of that game, and they were winning for a good chunk of that game.
It was just an unfortunate mistake at the end.
Yeah, back-to-back, really. I mean, the defensive miscues, they let Jane Daniels run all over them, and then the pick six. I mean, that was the end of the day for Missouri. And I'm sure a lot of those guys are like, what just happened? Like, we should have won that game.
Should have walked down the field.
Kentucky, they're like, yeah, we had no chance.
And then that's what most people expect. But, this is more their playing field, so...
Right. And this is a game I can see them winning. And it's at night. Come on, we didn't even throw that factor.
There's a lot of night games.
There are. It's a big night game week.
A lot of good vibes at nighttime this week.
But SEC matchup on the road, I like that's tough, man. That's tough for Missouri. And I do like Brady Cook a lot. I think he's a really good QB, but I don't know. I'm with you, man. Big Blue Nation. Let's ride.
All right, baby. The sad team. This was a great game last year.
It was.
At USC, Notre Dame had a tough season going into that. They
played them tough.
They did play them tough. They were on a good streak at that point, and Notre Dame just fell short. Caleb Williams was able to help close it out, and USC won. So now USC in this second game is on the road in South Bend at Notre Dame. Irish favored by 2.5. I solely believe that is only because they are at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough seeing the way they've been playing. I mean, Notre Dame, it's tough because you look at them and you're like, now you're just playing to go. You're playing to fight now. Like, you're playing to just do whatever.
You got nothing to lose.
Exactly. You got nothing to lose. You're literally going to be in that Irish stance, just ready to throw hands. I mean, you're at home. Marcus Freeman needs to back himself up right now. He needs that defense to be looking good, especially against a USC team who their defense is not good, and they survived surprisingly off a defensive stop in double, triple overtime against Arizona last week. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I've seen second grade flag football teams play better defense than USC so far this year. It's been unreal how bad they've been on the defensive side of the football. And you're right. That game against Arizona, that's a bad Arizona football team.
Mhm.
And USC got taken to the wire against them. So you're thinking, of course, Notre Dame is probably going to bounce back after that loss to Louisville. A competent team, a team that has some respect, a team that is playing really good. They're undefeated, 6-0. So while on the one hand, I do think Notre Dame is probably the more complete football team, out of principle, out of just pure hatred for Notre Dame, I can't take them here because of what they did to me last week. And I just don't believe in them. I think Sam Hartman is not the guy. I think he's kind of fraudulent, really. I think Marcus Freeman, I respect him a lot as a coach, but I've yet to see him win a big game. And I don't think he gets it done here. Give me Caleb Williams. I don't care if it's on the road or at home. I'm going to take Caleb Williams all day, every day with Lincoln Riley. That offense is going to keep them in this game regardless. And as long as he's healthy, as long as 13 is standing upright, they got a shot. So give me USC. Fight on, baby. Throw up the deuces.
Another beautiful night game, which will be in South Bend. Could be rainy conditions. We're going to see. It's supposed to be, at least here in Michigan, it's supposed to be raining all day, every minute on Saturday. So I don't know if that's going to be any effect weather-wise. USC has been practicing for those rainy conditions this week. Notre Dame has a better defense.
They do.
Can their defense show up? Can Sam Hartman go back to playing the way he was to start the season in the best way? Can that run game, that three-headed attack, get back to where it was? I don't know. Does that USC defense scare me, especially on the road? Absolutely.
No.
But
you mean the offense?
I meant the defense. The defense doesn't scare me.
Oh,
offense,
okay.
yes.
I was going to say.
To me, this game could turn into, honestly, the way everyone's playing, it could turn into a shootout. And if it's a shootout, I'm trusting Caleb Williams at the end of the day. So I'm going USC.
Yes.
Fight on.
I'm shocked going the Trojans. I love it.
Notre Dame hasn't given me any reason to trust him.
That's so true.
Any reason to trust him. You know I would probably take him this game. I took him last year on the road at USC, and they unfortunately couldn't pull through.
Yeah.
But
you can't.
I can't. If Caleb Williams,
out of principle. If Notre Dame wins this game, good for them.
Exactly.
But I'm not trusting them to do it.
I agree. Especially, that plus 2.5, just helpful in this to me.
Hey, you get a couple of points,
Exactly.
if it's close, let's say it goes to overtime, right? Which it could. I mean, that's the way USC plays. If it comes down to a 2-point conversion and Notre Dame gets it, I mean, we're within that. So.
I'll be honest. It's either a nice, maybe like a decent win towards a blowout on USC side, or Notre Dame is able to escape and with a win. But it does change the college football atmosphere if Notre Dame wins this game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I can't believe in them right now, so Caleb Williams and USC fight on. If Caleb Williams is out there, man, there's not a lot to say. If he gets knocked out, that changes a lot of things. But I think he'll be there. Yeah. I think he'll play right, and I think they'll get it done.
So, all right. Sounds good.
Are you shocked?
I'm a little shocked.
A little shocked, but not enough because of the way Notre Dame's are playing.
It's out of principle.
Mm-hmm.
The standard is right here. Standard. The standard is the standard. Yep,
right there. It's sitting right there in ink.
Trojans plus 2.5.
Oh, absolute chaos. All right, on to game 3. Already we are flying because there's not a lot to prove.
I love it.
The Canes of Miami head to Chapel Hill against North Carolina. North Carolina favored by 3.5. What is going to happen? Drake May and that UNC offense have been looking beautiful. Miami's still been looking good, but that choke job last week, all you had to do was kneel.
Mario, what are you doing? Not taking a knee. That game was won. I mean,
it's
not. I know it's not his thing to take a knee, but why is it not your thing? That's the best formation in football. Victory formation. You've won the game. It's locked. It's sealed. All you have to do is take a knee and you run the football. Come on, man. That's embarrassing. You're better than that.
It's tough. A lot of people are saying, it's all right. A lot of people are calling for his head. He's still a great coach, and Miami's looked good. It's hard to call for his head, but I don't know if this is true or not. Someone said that that's the second time that's happened to him. I don't know if that's true.
Or
he's had a similar incident to that.
I think it happened at Oregon.
So you gotta be on top of that. A lot of people are like, do you blame the head coach? Do you blame the offensive coordinator? Is there a little bit to blame on the quarterback to just be like, hey, forget this. I'm taking the knee. I can't. There's no logic behind this.
When I was watching that play and hearing discourse, no one really brought that up, but I was thinking, like, what would happen if Tyler Van Dyke just said, screw it, like, I'm taking a knee? Like, what would happen?
You win the game.
They win the game. Is the coach going to be mad that they won? Like, I don't.
If you know you're going to win the game, you take that knee, hopefully, as the quarterback, and you say, you know what? If the coach is mad that we won, sorry.
Yeah.
Bench me next week, right? Bench me for a victory and amid your mess up.
Right.
Like, there's no reason for it.
Well, you better believe they're going to be taking a knee if they're in that situation now. And I think a lot of people are looking at that Miami team and they're like, we're staying away. And North Carolina, the public loves them. 83% of the bets on the spread are on the Tar Heels per the Action Network. But this line hasn't moved. And that's a little concerning for me. Miami is a ratty team in this one. They're going on the road. They're coming off an embarrassment. But they're really good statistically. Like, offensively and defensively, they're pretty solid.
Which is shocking to hear after all these years with Miami.
I know. They're actually, like, they're lining up to be pretty damn good. It's like, I don't really know what to expect here. And this is one of those spots for me where I love Drake May. I want UNC probably to win this one. But 3.5, it's a ratty number. It hasn't moved. No one's backing Miami. That's just kind of where I come in and say, you know what? I'm going to take the Hurricanes. I'm going to take them plus 3.5 here.
Birdman.
And look, it just feels like this is the obvious spot for the Tar Heels, right? Back them. You know, Miami's coming off the embarrassment. Yeah, sure, take them, right? Right? No, I'm going to take the Hurricanes here, plus 3.5. I get the hook with the field goal there. So I think it's going to be close. Miami's better than advertised, and they're better than the public wants you to think they are, just based off the media attention this week. I'm going to take the Hurricanes, man.
That's a good pick. Of course, I would say.
Thank you.
You know, that was so unfortunate. They had the game in the bag. They've been looking good all season. Drake May and Syracuse come out this week after a blowout win against the Syracuse team, who thought we thought they were gonna look better throughout the season, but you know, they lose to Florida State, they lose to Clemson, now they used to lose to UNC. It's just been not looking good for a Syracuse team that always seems to start off pretty well and seem to at times disrupt the ACC. You know.
Yeah, I mean but 41-7.
Yeah, I know. It's just unfortunate for them. You know, after what they've been through in the past. I do not like that 3.5 number. It's a scary number, especially when it seems at times Miami. I think Miami will forever be underestimated because they haven't, until like kind of recently, but still not enough. They haven't proven to be a value team.
They haven't been Miami in
which
the past.
Is always crazy because I feel like the only reason they seem to be moments of relevancy is because of the past name and because they got lots of money. That's pretty much the breakdown of it.
That's it.
I mean, there's no other reason why Miami's where they're at. I mean, seems to me like, their college basketball teams seem to be the proven people of the past, right? Men and women, exactly. And I think the men's will probably still be decent this year, but the women's I think will reduce because they lost a lot of starters. But
you want to break down Miami Hurricanes women's hoops right now? Of
course, break it down. Aside from that, I trust my boy Drake May, and I'm gonna go with the Tar Heels in this one.
Yeah. That's a solid pick, man.
I don't hate the Miami pick at all, though, because I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's a great game that ACC needs, and we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a battle, but I think UNC is going to pull it out.
Dude, I'm a big Drake May guy, and I I genuinely want North Carolina to win this game.
You're like, give me UNC a field goal win.
I'm not a big Hurricane guy. I've never been a big Hurricane guy.
There's a lot of people who are.
They're taking recruits away from Michigan State. They kind of irritate me. North Carolina, I can respect as a program, and like we said, we like Drake May, but
you like Mac Brown?
It's just a ratty number.
It is 3.5.
You just take him off of everything that happened the last week. It's either going to blow up in my face or it's going to be a slam dunk pick. That's kind of how I roll.
I think this is either a nice win for UNC or a close one for Miami. I don't see Miami beating down UNC.
No,
not at all. Well, that's game 3.
Let's go to game 4.
Game 4. We got the Bruins of UCLA heading to Oregon State in game 4. The Beavers favored by minus 3.5. I forget. Is it what's the name of their stadium?
Oh my!
It's not
gosh.
the barn. Is it well? No, who's the woodshed?
That's MSU.
MSU, right? And I kind of get that, but I don't get that. I forget what the name of their stadium is called.
I'll look it up. You break it down. I think I know what it is, but I want to make sure.
We had a tough couple weeks. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. We had that stressful loss where UCLA lost to Utah in an unfortunate game. UCLA, they threw that pick 6 early in the game, and they just couldn't come back from that. They couldn't play well enough. Utah didn't look good enough either. So it was just a tough loss for us when we did take the Bruins. They bounced back last week playing ranked Washington State and upset them, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming. I mean, UCLA did need a bounce-back win. They needed a win in general in the Pac-12. But, I mean, shout out to Chip Kelly. Shout out to UCLA for that upset of Washington State. Washington State is still a good football team. They are still a threat. I mean, shout out to the days with, what's his name? Rest in peace, Mike, who was Washington State's coach. And then he became Mississippi State's coach. Mike Leach.
Yeah.
Shout out Mike Leach. The good eras right there.
Like when you said, I was like, crap.
Shout out Mike Leach for that era.
Yeah,
but
Mike Leach is a legend.
The Beavers are looking good this season. They have, unfortunately, one loss, but they do look good. With shout out DJU coming over for Clemson. He's looking good with the Beavers. I don't know if he'd look this good still with Clemson. I doubt it. But shout out to him. This is kind of a redemption year for him. He needed it. There's a lot going on in this game. Did you find out what the name of the stadium is?
Razor Stadium.
I thought it was something else.
But it is in Corvallis, Oregon. You don't just walk into Corvallis and expose the Beavers. You just don't do that.
It's a rowdy place to play.
It is a rowdy place to play, man. They got great fans. And what I love about this Oregon State team is they are so sound defensively. They're very complex and tough to play against. And what I think the big issue for Dante Moore with this UCLA team is just these critical mistakes. And you can't make critical mistakes like they have done lately. The pick sixes, the turnovers in the red zone. Oregon State's going to eat that up. And after that, they're going to spit you out and stomp on you. That's just what they do. This is a very feisty team. It's an aggressive team. It's a team that plays mean. It plays a little dirty at times. And I love it. At home, I'm going to take the Beavers, man. I don't really need to tell you any more info. I just like the Beavers. I took them against Utah on the side a couple weeks ago. I'm going to take them here against UCLA. I think they're the better team. They don't have the better quarterback. Dante Moore is going to be a star. But right here and now, he's still learning. It's a really tough place to play, man. And he did not look good against Utah on the road. I don't think he's going to look good here either. So give me the Beavers minus 3.5.
Yeah, it's been tough for UCLA on the road, as I mentioned earlier. Agreed with that loss to Utah, but they did have a great win against ranked opponent Washington State last week. Unfortunately, Washington State is probably the lowest ranked team of value in the Pac-12, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, you got Oregon ahead of them, Oregon State, you got USC, Washington. Everybody's ahead of them ranked-wise. I don't trust the Bruins enough on the road. I agree, a lot of talent there at quarterback. He's got a lot of potential. He also could have went to Oregon, could have sat out a year and took over there for Bo Nix, but he's like, no, I got to start now.
And the NIL money that UCLA
definitely,
offers.
They definitely gave him a crazy amount of money. But a lot of potential going forward for UCLA, but I am on the Beavers.
Let's go.
Can't trust.
Beavers, baby.
Beavers at home.
Bring out the chainsaws.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the student section's got. They got the chainsaws. It's awesome.
I'm surprised no one brings a real one. I'm surprised the past. They probably wouldn't let that in. They'd have to be toy.
Yeah.
Security would be like, whoa, excuse me, sir.
Maybe the mascot can have like
Benny the Beaver?
Yeah, Benny the Beaver.
All right. Easy game 4. On to the big granddaddy of them all for this week.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome game. Awesome
Oregon
game.
Ducks head to Washington against the Huskies. Huskies favored by 2.5. Again, advantages due to another situation where they're favored because they are at home, I believe. Because this is a great matchup. I think this is the best matchup in the Pac-12. A complete, honestly, end-to-end Oregon off team versus Washington, who is great end-to-end, but the offense is definitely better than the defense. Defense a little weaker, but I mean, Oregon is probably the most complete team in the Pac-12.
They've been outstanding. Terrific start to their season. Dan Lanning has the boys humming. But this is a concerning spot for me. Bo Nix on the road, not the same guy. This defense, we don't know if it travels yet. But what I do love about Oregon is it appears that they've had a different mindset and approach. Like when you heard Dan Lanning against Colorado, like this is a team that's serious about winning. It's not
about the clicks.
They're not about the clicks, but it's more so just
fundamentals.
I think Oregon in the past got caught up in all the flash. A lot of style, but not a ton of substance. I feel like Dan Lanning has instilled a program of substance now with Oregon. And Washington, they got a lot of flash. They got a lot of style, but I haven't really seen them do it in this stage. Like they've beaten my Spartans twice now, right? I've seen that happen. And they've had some nice wins last year as well. But something tells me this Oregon team is a playoff team. They're legit. They're real. I like the Ducks, man. I do. I know it's so typical of me to go against Washington, but I can't in good faith tell the audience that I think Washington is going to win this game. Because I think Oregon's going to win this game. I'm going to take the 2.5. I'm going to take the points. But I can't sit here and say, yeah, the Huskies got this one. I just can't. I'm taking the Ducks. I think they're the better football team. I think they have the better quarterback. And I think they have the better coach. That's way too much better for me to take, the team that I think is worse in every single category. So give me the Ducks plus 2.5. He's going to be doing a lot of push-ups. That's all I know. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
I agree.
It's going to be a high-scoring game. Yeah, I'm going to take the Ducks.
This was a tough game for me. I love Washington, but I have major respect for Oregon because they've been playing great, and I do like the Ducks. They're a great team, end-to-end. I disagree that they have the better quarterback.
I like Bo Nix more.
To me, Michael Penix is a better quarterback.
It's a good argument. I just think Bo Nix, I just like him. He's got a little bit more.
I like Bo Nix too. I agree.
I feel like when I see Penix, I think of Hendon Hooker. Like just everything else around him is so easy.
Way better than Hendon Hooker.
You do?
I do.
Maybe.
He's way more accurate.
You might be right. I don't know.
I'm not saying
I would love to see them play.
Just go against
Tennessee, Washington, like that.
That would have been wild.
That would have been a fun game.
Who would you have picked in that game?
I don't know.
That would have been a tough game because that Tennessee defense wasn't that great.
No, it would have been 60-63.
Exactly. Like how this game might be, but Oregon actually has a defense.
They do.
It's tough. I think it's still going to be high scoring. I think it's turnovers or defensive stops. Those are the big things that are going to decide this game. It's tough for me because I do think the smarter pick here is Oregon, but I can't go against my boys because I will be flacked for it like I did with the Rebels.
No. Won't be as bad as the Rebels.
I'm going to trust my boys, and if they don't get it done, it will suck, but I know how good Oregon is. I know they're a great team, and I won't be mad at it, but I'm gonna trust the Huskies at home.
This game really, for me, is a coin flip. I think it can go either way. It's hard for me to say one way or another which team is going to win this game. I personally believe Oregon's just better in every category.
And I don't disagree with that, but I'm going to trust the Huskies at home.
No, it's fair.
I mean, to me, I would, if this was at Oregon, I'd take Ducks for sure too.
Oh yeah,
automatically. It's that at home is wild there. That's a more dangerous place to play than I don't know, Husky Stadium. I don't know what it is.
It is Husky Stadium.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Husky Stadium.
I was like, Washington's beautiful. Shout out beautiful Washington. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a great game. It's gonna be so fun to watch. Maybe we'll watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I gotta see what I got going on this weekend.
We'll watch games together at some point.
I might be free this weekend.
We'll see. It's gonna be a rainy day, So I guess it depends. We'll talk about it later. But that's all 5.
That's it, man. Let's run it down.
It was a quick one today.
No, it's still good in length. Good length here. All right. First game, Missouri, Kentucky. Me and Justin both on Kentucky -2.5. Big Blue Nation. Let's ride. Game 2, the Trojans head to South Bend, Indiana, take on the Irish. Me and Justin fight on USC +2.5. Miami, North Carolina. Let's see if the Hurricane can make amends.
Let's see if UNC can get hit by a second hurricane this year.
Yeah. But regardless, I'm on Miami +3.5. Justin's on the Tar Heels -3.5. Game 4, me and Justin both riding the Beavers against the Bruins -3.5. And then in the finale, Oregon, Washington. I'm on the Ducks +2.5, and Justin is on the Huskies -2.5. And those are your picks. Week 7 in the books. Let's have some fun. Let's get some winners going. Lots of games, lots of fun ones. Should be a fantastic week.
Be on the lookout for Evan on Twitter if he does throw a college football pick out this week.
I think it's going to be college football. It's already kind of in my brain, and it'll be leaked on Twitter Friday morning.
Oh, love that. Wow. Friday morning. He gets the people ready early.
Well, but you'll hear this on Saturday. So
yeah, that's true.
Stay advised in the future. It'll be on Fridays. Typically, I'll release a pick. It'll either be on for a college football game or an NFL game. You might catch me the occasional Thursday night game as well for the NFL.
So be on the lookout.
But most of the time, I'm thinking I stick to Fridays, do one of the weekend games. But if there's a Thursday game that I love, and a side that I love, then I'm going to play it for sure.
Well, be on the lookout at all times, mostly Fridays. So if you listen to this episode right now, go check. He probably posted one yesterday.
Twitter/X at STJ Sports Pod. That is the handle. Give us a follow. We'd love to hear you. We'd love to communicate with you. Reach out, banter, whatever the case may be. But picks, weekly, Friday exclusive, Twitter/X exclusive, all season long. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. We will catch you guys next week in the next one. Peace.